everybody. Oh, everybody's just on one side of the room. Is there any reason why you don't spread out to the other side? Who's on the other side there? It doesn't matter where the camera is. You sit comfortably. So, what do you guys want to talk about? I think you guys been talking about the kingdom, right? Isn't that why we're all here?
That's right.
So what have you learned about the kingdom? Why is it beautiful? What's so beautiful about God's kingdom? What does that mean?
The government doesn't.
Yeah? The kingdom is a free place. I mean, if you look at what is the basis of God's kingdom, what does Father say God's kingdom is? Yeah, by conscience. If you're going to be living by conscience, does that mean you have free will or not? To have conscience means you have the ability to choose, right? You can determine what you believe is right and wrong based on your moral understanding of relationships and situations, right? So there's an element of freedom, of free will. How about love? Can love exist without free will? Why? Can't you just force somebody to love you? You can't? So, in God's kingdom, it's a kingdom of conscience and free will. And with free will, if you have free will, does that guarantee you that you have love? But you have the possibility of getting love, right? So it's not fair. Doesn't that mean God's kingdom's not fair because some people get love and other people don't? It's a mean God, isn't it? No? So in God's kingdom, you got to actually get out and do something. Nothing's going to be given to you. How about if you're hungry? What do you got to do? Get a business? What happens if you're not smart enough to make a business? Well, I think one of the founding fathers said it best. I mean, there's no better motivator to motivate you to work hard than hunger. I guess if you're hungry enough, you'll figure out what to do to make a living. But those are very good and important questions. So when we think about God's kingdom, we're seeing that God's kingdom requires elements of it. Free will, free choice. You have to take initiative. Things aren't guaranteed. They're risky. Things are risky. Things aren't guaranteed for you. You might not get love. You might not get food. Is that the kind of place which you want to live in?
Yes. Yes.
Why?
Because you're trusting God.
So, if we understand, if we look at those elements, then we see that the basis in which the kingdom of God, which we're talking about, is very much anchored in non-coercion and in your own personal choice. And that's the philosophical basis on which the kingdom is built. And so when we look at the Constitution, that's the difference between, that's the basis in which the Chanaguk Constitution is built on, is the freedom to choose, to have conscience, to have free will, to be able to create your own life, to be able to pursue happiness. But there is no guarantee of success. There's no guarantee of economic success. There's no guarantee of emotional success. But there is the possibility of success and of finding love and of finding fulfillment in your life as God planned for you. But when we look at, we've talked a lot about God's kingdom in that regard, especially if you discuss the Constitution class. So then when we look on the other side, what is Satan's kingdom? What is the philosophic basis of Satan's kingdom? Well, yeah. What is the opposite of choice?
No choice.
It's force, right? So basically, Satan's kingdom is basically, if he has something more than I do, then we should get together and steal it from him. That's what socialism is, right? That's what socialism is, right? Correct? If they're in a society, different people have different amounts of social resources and different amounts of money. So you say it's not fair, and you get enough people to get together to say it's not fair, and what do the group of people who say it's not fair do? They steal it. And if the people don't want to give up their resources, how do they steal it?
Of course.
What do? They kill people, they beat them up one way or another, they take what they did not produce. So that's the basis of socialism. That's the basis of Satan's kingdom. It's envy, jealousy. He has more than me, so I should take some of his. So what do you think about the moral underpinning of that kind of society? Does it seem just? So you're saying that the notion of egalitarianism is unjust.
Bingo.
It's evil.
Inequality. Inequality of opportunity is, equality of opportunity is good, but outcome isn't always guaranteed.
Sure. That's the whole point. If you have equal opportunity, then you're guaranteed that the outcome will be unequal. Because people have different abilities and different talents. Yeah, everybody is unique. And even if you had forced equal economic results, then people are still unequal. Because people are going to be unequal in terms of happiness. Some people are going to be much more joyful than other people. Some people are going to be with the people they love, and the other people are going to be miserable. So if you create equality in economic results, and now you have inequality in happiness, how is that equality in results? So that's the problem we get into when you talk about when you talk about Satan's kingdom or Satan's idea or socialism or communism, is that the complaining, the saying that I'm a victim, it's not fair to me. This psychology never ends, even if you make economic results the same. There will always be constant jealousy. Because your focus is not in improving yourself, not in working on yourself, not in seeing who you are as an individual. But your focus is on comparing yourself to other people.
So they are the loser.
Yeah, you're just basically being jealous of other people rather than going out and making your own life. And you're creating your own identity and your own misery. And ultimately, what is that? What is that egocentric focus? It's idol worship, right? So the basis of socialism is idol worship. You're worshiping your self-victimization. That brings us right back to the Ten Commandments. That's why God warns us away from worshiping idols. Because it never ends. You know, there are societies and societies boil down to fundamental philosophic principles. Very simple precepts are the foundation of the society, the nation, and the world. It's, when you look at the world, you say it's big and it seems huge and there's lots of complexity in it. But the complexity doesn't make the world. The underlying fundamental simple philosophic principle is the basis in which the entire society is built. And so there's a fundamental difference between a society built on free will and a society built on coercion. Now, these are two fundamentally mutually exclusive principles. They do not mix together well. It's like oil and water. So if you want to pursue a society of equal results or social or use of force to make the results more equal, then you're going to be continuously separating yourself from the notion of free will. And as the institutions which progress in creating that force continue to grow, those institutions will continue to abuse their power and expand their abuse of power. And then you get down this very slippery slope which you can't turn around on. So when we look at the Garden of Eden and the story of the fall of Adam and Eve, we see how innocently Eve fell into eating the apple. But once she went down that path, it just became a slippery slope, and generation after generation, the consequences of her action multiplied infinitely until this entire world of Satan's kingdom was created. So that's the point. The point is where you start is the most important. What is the basis in which your society, your kingdom is built? What is the seed from which, let's say, the tree that you plant comes from? Is it a good seed or is it a bad seed? And it's those fundamental, simple moral precepts which basically will determine the fate of the entire world and how the world will turn out. And so that really is the question of the choice that you're making. And that's the question of the choice that the entire unification community had to make after Father ascended. What type of kingdom are we pursuing? What is the vision for God's kingdom? That's why choice is important. It really matters what you choose. It's not always the same. This world which you see around us, which we've come to enjoy, based upon the Christian precept, which was developed through Western civilization, and which the founding fathers of this nation fought for through the Revolutionary War to establish. This is not this society is not a society which is necessarily guaranteed just by mutual interaction of people. It's actually a historical anomaly. Most of human history is not like this.